Hello, everyone. I'm Rob Smith of the In the Black VTF here at T3 Live, and we got what we bargained for, and then there turned out to be a lot more to do than that meets the eye. So this morning, talked about the probability of going inside day. We certainly did for the SPY. I looked at that 60 in the morning. And boy, did we dry up. I said, really need to take that or that out, or we're going to be an inside day, and we're nowhere near that. And we just really dried up into here, inside, looking for the one inside break, and just never came. So one of the things that we want to look for when we know that this is going on, I talked about in the morning, is that there's a couple things that we can do. And first things first was to look at some of those gappers to see if there's anything to do, and a couple of them just kind of gap and sit. But if you look at OLN, talked about that this morning. Gap and reverse, that's nice. There's plenty of time and ways to enter this thing. If you can see this, plenty of time to get in. There's a fiver, all that kind of stuff, fiver falling apart. And so to look for those gappers, stuff like that. Another thing off the opening was that to RH, boom, gap and reverse the other way. That worked very nicely as well. If you looked at BMRN, looking for a gap and go, and you got a little bit in the morning and then faded in the afternoon, but it was mighty quick here right out the opening. But there was some range in here, and not as easy as those other two, but certainly stuff to see there. Also, what we want to look for is discernible natural buyers and sellers. And by that I mean that when the SPY is doing this, doing nothing, that anybody that has buy or sell orders that they're working on a Friday, they got to show their hand. And if you look at HRS, that was real nice all day long, just walking her up. So we identified that, got some of that. If you looked earlier on home builders, when the SPY was going sideways, started coming up towards the highs, and not a real huge move, but there was some nice stuff in there. Toll Brothers, Ryland, stuff like that. So we're looking at that, and if also looked at XRT retail. When the SPY is going sideways, anything that starts breaking out and holding can start going toward the highs. Obviously not a real big move there, but looking for anything we could find. If there's any real discernible groups that we're watching during the day, certainly we had the refiners, and you can see MPC all day long, HFC, Tesoro, WNR, and this is one of the advantages of watching natural buyers and sellers. Certainly as you can see here, Valero, Tesoro, all selling across the board in a certain sector can be something that you can pick on fairly quickly, which we did. Also, right out the chute, we saw some AutoZone. This AutoZone ripping right out the chute and just walking up all day. Inside 15. And so right there, you can go and look at O'Reilly's, look at AAP, stuff like that. And so we said stuff like, we could go look at that when you don't always have that. So then things got a little quiet. We had a few of those things that we could watch, and certainly things were going up and down, and everybody's a little bit jumpy if the SPY does break out one way or the other. But for the most part, no. So we got a little action later in the crude oil. USO, you can see how it gaps down, goes sideways, and then you get that inside 15 measured move and then some to the downside. That gave some good late action for anybody who's still hanging around here as well. You can also look to trade some of the derivatives if you're mighty enough, like DWTI can really start cooking up into the upside, stuff like that. So that gave us something too on a day that was seemingly difficult, especially if you're just watching the broader averages. However, right at the end of the day, we've got the announcement. We got Intel coming after Altera, and boom, Intel and the SMH just blasting off Altera. And what was great about that is that there was, as fast as they were, that they continued. And one of the reasons you could expect that to happen on a Friday afternoon, there are some option boys getting destroyed, people scrambling to cover as fast as they can. So if they're going to fade, maybe they fade on Monday, but on a day like today, a real tough fade, they're going to keep going. And so we were grabbing everything we could find, get our mitts on. You got Xilinx, you've got ADI, Texas, Broadcom. All these things really screaming here. And if you look at the SOX itself, boy, if you could get some of those options there, the SOX you can see trading about 676 with a half an hour to go. Boom, up to 694. And so certainly that gave us something to do at the end of the day if you were fast enough. Not everybody's that type of trader, but certainly certainly things to do if you are, and we're on that fairly quickly. When there's a lot of not stuff not moving around, it was pretty evident as soon as that hit that at least a bunch of stuff on my chart started blowing up, and we were grabbing everything we could get, and it was a nice end of the day, if you will. So in the grander scheme of things, on a day like today, yes, do we have that discernible natural buyers and sellers that we could track? Sure. But in the grander scheme of things, SPY is an inside day. So to come in on Monday, you got the Dow Jones Diamonds as an inside day. You got the Trannies as an inside day. You got the Utes as an inside day. You got FAS as an inside day. So just a lot of consolidation, which makes it very interesting to start off next week because you've got 2 days of trading. Then we start the new quarter, and oftentimes you'll see the first allocations of orders on the first day on whether we're going to, where is asset allocation going to start going? Do they start getting more worried and more defensive that interest rates are coming sooner than later, or do we go back to the status quo and just buy the dips and keep it going? So, as I talked about this morning, SPY is going inside month, almost for sure here, unless we can take out the highs or take out the lows of that, and that would be a mighty, mighty tall order. So that's about it for this week. We're going to start off as inside days to start off on a Monday. So on a Monday, what we'll look for is, do we have a simultaneous break? And by that I mean, do all of these inside broader indices break in the same direction, or do we have some go up, some go down, some stay inside, or new ones like energy come in and stay inside? And then on Tuesday, we'll look to confirm or negate those initial moves. And then on Wednesday, we've got the new quarter. So certainly going to be interesting here coming into April on what kind of asset allocation we can expect. And we're going to be looking at all the sectors thoroughly as soon as that quarter starts next Wednesday and certainly next weekend. So for the overall stuff, a little quiet. That's okay to be expected. SPY's inside day, inside month, coming into the new quarter, and that's what we're going to do it. And so when you have something like this, hopefully some of these examples will help you when it seems like the market's slow. You just want to sift around there, look at the new highs, look at the new low list as they're printing during the day, and hopefully, as you can see today, sometimes you get some nice blueprints like we did with the home builders and the refiners and the auto parts. All right, that's going to do it. I hope everybody has a great weekend. It was certainly an interesting week to trade. Certainly only going to get more interesting as the new quarter comes on. All right, everybody have a great weekend. I'm Rob Smith, the In the Black VTF here at T3 Live, wishing you a great weekend.